which are based on a number of different styles: banjo, phrases, steel guitar, and chicken picking, double stops, various things. This first one is a C ending. Slowed down. Starts with the middle finger. This is a similar lick that ends in G, though. Here it is slowly. 2, 3, 4. Here's the right hand. The technique I use incorporates a lot of bending, so I'd like to tell you a little bit about that, and in particular the behind the nut bending that I use, the technique that I use behind the nut. I use Ernie Ball stainless steel strings that starts with a 9 and ends in a 42. Makes the job a lot easier. And I just started with the G string going up a tone. You might want to start with a semitone, practice going to an E. And do a little bit, do this one gradually, because you can really suffer painful fingers and might even cut yourself as well, which would really be a drag, because then you have to stop everything until you heal. Then I started trying all different types of intervals, you know, like going to an A major on the G and the B strings. Or an A minor. And then some contrary motion bends, like on the B string, on the A string and the D string. You start with the note, like a B note on the A string, and then the open D, and then switch your middle finger. As you release that, your index finger then starts to raise the D string up to E. You get a contrary motion bend that way. And when your fingers get really tough, you could start doing the really low string, growly kind of things, dive bomber type. You know, even without a tremolo, you can get the effect by going up a full, you know, going up to A from the E string. Or the A to the D. This next lick is one that I use on Around the Bend from my first album, and it's against an E chord. You can use it, turn it around any way you like. It starts off with a behind the nut technique, but this time you finger the G sharp note on the 3rd string first, and then do the bending as well behind. Now I'd like to show you a couple of double bends. I accidentally caught the B string while I was releasing the G, and it carried it back, dragging it back up a semitone, and got this effect. So what's happening is I'm bending the G string up a tone, and then the B string is just falling right underneath the ball of my finger, and then I just hold that down. So when the G string returns to pitch, the B string goes up a semitone, so you get that kind of steel guitar lick. So it's handy for, you know, wherever you are. Once I'd perfected that, I wanted to find ways to incorporate it, so I was trying different things around it. A7th, A9th kind of effect. So it's still that starting as if to play an E, but then play an A note on the top, and then the G note on the bottom to get that 7th effect. And then also back to E, a resolve kind of ending would be to bend the D string, a G sharp note up to, and then do your lick, hold this up to, releasing everything at once. Make a nice kind of ending, steel guitar kind of ending. This next lick is a parallel motion double bend, two strings going in the same direction, bending in the same direction. Be like an A7th going to a D. And you can experiment with that and do bends at the different times too. Here's one using is a nice effect, kind of a steel guitar kind of effect. This is a steel lick. Starts on the 5 chord. It's going to A, so it starts on the E, goes to A. And slowed down. Here's a steel guitar lick that finishes on E. Slowly. It starts on the A, on the E string. That's semitone down, and then you have an already bent, that's on the B string, and an already bent note on the G string, which is a full tone. And then to a full tone bend on the B string. This next lick is a banjo style run that you can use either as an intro or as an ending. It's in G. And slowly. Let's see the right hand now. It's kind of an alternating pattern. This next one is a kind of a diminished lick that will take you, it's like a D diminished going into an A and then back to D. To the A chord. This next one is a C sharp diminished Same type of run, but ending in G. C sharp diminished to D seventh to G. It's hard to do slowly, but I'll do it one more time. Look at the right hand. When I first got started, I actually played classical guitar for about 3 months, and just because I had to. It was the only way I could get an electric. My parents would buy me an electric at the end of a year if I showed that I was serious enough. So I played that classical for about a year and had 3 months worth of lessons. But I really wanted to play rock and roll, and then that developed into the country. So whenever I played that, I always used a pick. And it wasn't until I heard some of the country players and the banjo players that I heard that technique, and it was already too late for me to get used to a thumb pick. So I just started to use one or two other fingers, and eventually all three at certain times, all three available to me, along with the pick. And that's really been a key, that's really the way I play the guitar most of the time now, unless I'm doing fiddle tunes where I'll just flat pick. But most other styles I utilize the fingers as well as the pick. So when I got into the country style, instead of changing over to a thumb pick, I just could never get used to it. So I just stayed with the flat pick and used first one. I got used to using the pick and the middle finger first of all, and then eventually use the middle and the ring fingers for most of the techniques. And if I need the pinky, I'll use that too. But it's mostly that kind of thing for double stopping, Pick, back and forth between the pick and the middle and ring fingers. Something to practice would be kind of the middle and ring fingers. Then you can get into other chords afterwards. It's just a nice way to develop coordination. Another thing that's handy in country is the chicken picking technique, and you can do it a number of ways. Either by just using the flat pick with your thumb and your index finger very close to the edge, so that you get kind of a snappy sound like that, or between using the pick and alternating with the middle finger. And you can get a chicken picking kind of technique even while you're double stopping as well, which is using just kind of half muting as well on the pick side, so on the D string. It's just kind of stubbing the string out and not letting it ring very much. Just gives it kind of a snappy sound. I'm going to show you a tune now called The Beak, which you heard at the beginning of the tape. It's an array of the different techniques that I use, and before I break it down for you, I'm just going to play it one more time with the band. Here's the first phrase slowed down. Next phrase starts with a D7th. Next phrase is back to A and starts with an open G string, sliding up to a C sharp note. A few pull-offs, slur, open G, then back to this one. Down to the open E and D strings, and then a harmonic on the B string, bending it up to D. Last phrase of that introduction is an E7th, automatically down to a D7th, a C7th, to the final A7th. Just on the E and D strings. Then bending the D string up to an E note while playing the bottom A. Then in the piece, it starts off an A7th bend on the B string. out to the A. And that's where I'm bending the D string and the D and the G strings up a tone each, and letting them off one at a time. That's a C chord, two-note C chord on the C and on the A and D strings, bending each up a tone to get the D. Which brings you to the E chord. It's kind of a chicken picking thing. Brings you to the next bar, A. Start of another bar. The D chord then sort of bend down, take over another bend there that starts on the G and the B strings. Okay, over the E, after the E, the E and D chords. D, A, and that brings you to the next series, next round of A. Finishing with the bend, parallel bend behind the nut, the D and the G both going up a full tone, getting you back to the A at full speed. Two, three, four. The last E and the D to the A and the finish go sort of a banjo, starts with a banjo lick over the E and the D. 1, 2, 3, 4. D. And here it is slowed down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's a sort of medium tempo version of the whole thing. 2, 3, 4. 4. We're going to finish now with another piece from the Telecasting LP called Mixed Emotions.